Welcome back to Daily Hunt. I'm Henry, and as always, every day we're going to be covering a broad analysis of the market. We're going to be covering cryptos, especially today, considering what happened yesterday, a bit of a sell-off, and we're going to be covering the S&P, NASDAQ, the VIX, and my general thoughts on the stock market, as well as some picks that I might have for today going into the Fed interest rate decision. So it's a big day for the markets, and we need to be very, very cautious. It's a 50-50 kind of day, especially in risk on assets like crypto. And we are monitoring the situation with the S&P and the NASDAQ, especially after this kind of overextension that we've seen in both of those indices. We've seen huge gaps on the indices, and that's led to gaps in stocks. Of that type of volatility, that type of price action from the Sunday news has made it quite difficult for a swing trader such as myself to be able to get into positions, as well as to kind of get nice setups. So we've been very, very selective with what we've bought. Not everything is working out at the moment, and it's a 50-50 kind of situation. You're going to see it in what I'll be providing you guys with in the video. Okay, so we're going to start with S&P 500. Going to be able to have a look at what I've been analyzing and what I've been looking at for the last few days. What I said on Monday was, on my Sunday call with my community members, I drew out a scenario that would be a very, very nice distribution scenario if there was a distribution. So it would be a very, very choppy market with fake outs. And funnily enough, if you go to the previous video, which is the Monday video, you're going to see that I drew this, and it's following it to the T. So we're getting this initial resistance on the midpoint of the channel again. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen. What I am saying is that it would be something similar to this if we were going to get distribution. So it would be this fake breakout, which we've seen. And I'm not saying it's a fake breakout because I've traded it myself, and a lot of stocks that I've traded are doing really well. I'll be explaining that a little bit later. It would be something where it's a failed breakout. If I'm explaining it correctly, failed breakout, comes back down, right? Liquidates a few shorter term traders, comes back down, tries to reaccumulate here, gives you another breakout, gives you potential wedge where the market goes, okay, now we have to get a move. Tries again, maybe does a little bit higher, a little bit of a higher move here, and then it just randomly, there's a key event in December or whatever period it might be, and then we get a dump or some sort of sell-off of around 5 to 6%, which I'm still kind of waiting for, to be honest, to around 6.4, 6.3, depending on how quickly it sells off. And then we rebuild again for the continuation into the new year. That's something that I'm watching out for, mainly because we've seen something similar in the November-December period of last year. So something like that could happen. Now, so far, it's looking pretty good. And if I kind of remove this drawing, so we remove the drawing, it's looking pretty good. We've gone back into a trend. We're above all the key EMAs. We've built some momentum, and we are looking like we can go to 7K very, very soon. We've seen some big players like NVIDIA, which we bought in my community, gain around 6% yesterday, and it's gaining momentum. So that will be good for the indices, especially, as well as some other larger caps like Tesla and Amazon that have been doing okay. As you can see here, nice move here, and this was all driven by news. Okay, so I think it was something related to sales of chips. So there's orders piling up for those chips, and we traded at this pivot point here around I think 17 something 183. So key swing moment there, and perfect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row of momentum, and we're up around. Let's just see. And again, if you want to check whether this is an actual trade, I mean, I am in the US Investing Championship. I can't really lie about it. And the other thing is, it's in my Discord group, so you can go and join that. The link is below in the description of this video. Okay, so this has been about a 12% move since we've entered, approximately 12 to 10%, and it's been very, very nice. I don't tend to buy larger caps, but I wanted to position myself in the larger caps, considering that the broader market, the indices were moving, and I wasn't seeing many good setups in the smaller growth opportunities that I wanted to trade. So I ended up buying NVIDIA and Palantir with that idea. I explained this in the previous video, so I don't want to dwell on that too much. But yeah, we're seeing some kind of, we're seeing the larger caps do quite well. That's basically what I was trying to say here. And if we go into the NASDAQ has performed really well because of it. So we'll just go to the NASDAQ quickly. This is NASDAQ, yep. Come on. As you can see here, very similar, and it's pushing higher. We are seeing it today as well. Oh, sorry, yesterday we saw that push higher. Today, NVIDIA's moving a little bit higher as well, going into the interest rate decision. The only thing that makes me fearful about this is because it's being priced in already. Now, if there's any sort of negative news or comments from Jerome Powell about the U.S. economy, we are going down. So I am monitoring the situation very, very carefully. I usually like the market to be undecided on the event. So if this was consolidating around here for a little while and not moving this well, that would be better for me personally. That would be better because I'd be positioning myself a little bit earlier in some positions and then having breakout setups already or orders for breakouts already in place. So the momentum kicks in, we would buy on the day. But what we're seeing this buy up before the event and a bit of an overextension. With that overextension, it makes me fearful that any negative news, any negative comment that might come from Jerome Powell after the decision in a conference that he might be speaking afterwards, I think he is, then any sort of negativity, any sort of fear that can be created in the markets will lead to a sell-off. And that's something that I'm watching out for very, very carefully, and I'm managing the situation. I'm very lucky in the sense that we've positioned ourselves, or I positioned myself in a place where we have some really good profitable trades at the moment. We are in profit, so even if it dips a little bit or we get a sell-off, it's manageable. And in my opinion, with most of my trades, it would be just a simple dip and then probably a bounce with the way that the market's looking at the moment. If the interest rates are reduced and we have generally positive comments about the US economy, we would probably have to move up higher. Then there's other factors. I mean, I've seen tweets about Jim Cramer saying that we are the stocks are gonna do well if interest rates are dropped. So that's fear for me as well, considering that he doesn't have a good track record with his predictions. Okay, so even if it dips, I think it's fine. It's logical. It is a bit overextended. Ideally, it would be we move into a kind of euphoric buy-in, that would be nice for growth opportunities which have dropped. So yesterday, what do we see? We saw large caps doing well, NVIDIA and so on, and we saw the S&P grinding a little bit higher because of that. The NASDAQ doing really well. So we have 0.75% gains on the NASDAQ. But the Russell and crypto market, and we're going to cover crypto a bit later, the Russell 2000 dipped. And that's normal. That's normal. Risk on assets or riskier assets are going to be something that investors will sell in a situation where they are uncertain. Now, there is quite a lot of certainty, in my opinion, that we're going to get an interest rate drop. So that's kind of a given, but it could be priced in. And again, there might be fear of, will there be a drop of interest rates and a strong US economy and so on, that would keep on driving the prices higher. If that's the case, drop of interest rates, I mentioned it before, with strong US economy, we have a 2-year run. We should be continuing for another 18 months to 2 years from here. So if we don't have that, then we have a bear market. So if there's any signs that the US economy isn't doing well, the market will go bearish very, very quickly, and then we'll have a bear market for about a year and a half. So we need these to continue in the way that they're continuing. We had good CPI data. We had good CPI data last week, which was a positive. So if we go to the last week here, pretty decent, 3%. Now, we're not around that 2% that the Fed wants to be, but we were still stable around the 3% level. So a slight drop of around 25 basis points is okay. And I think then maybe we have a slowdown of interest rates being dropped. Maybe they're not dropped every single month or every single quarter. It depends on what the situation is to get, let's say, inflation under control. But this, the Fed decision this week as well could open up money printers again. It could, it will help the market, in my opinion, move artificially as well because of the money printing, in my opinion. But let's see. So we have to just keep on positioning ourselves in the best picks that outperform the market so that we can outperform inflation and money printing. The Russell, though, let's go back to the Russell. Even if it kind of dips here, we still have some opportunities, and that would be a nice opportunity for us to buy some plays here. I don't have many smaller cap growth stocks at the moment because it's just not set up. The VIX, I was expecting the VIX to do a bit of a move up higher at a bounce because we had a significant sell-off here. As you can see, we had a drop, and then I was expecting this move to come back up. I shared this, I think, in the last video, which was on Monday, and it's Wednesday now. I didn't do the Tuesday daily hunt. I had some other commitments, but as you can see here, nice dip on the VIX, showing the general less fear in the market, less volatility, and then we could see a little bit of a spike. Like I said, if we get a dip on the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, it is normal because of the way the price action has moved, and there's a bit of an overextension. Then what we need is absolutely need this around the 17 to hold up and then come back down for that continuation on the S&P and the NASDAQ. So we need maybe a little bit of fear and then back to complacency again. That's what I'm watching for, and it's expected. As in, it's okay if that happens. It's not going to crush my portfolio in any way. We've kind of protected ourselves by entering in the right opportunities and trading the right ideas. Something that I traded yesterday, and look, big regrets here that I sold off CCJ. CCJ, I ended up selling, I think it was last week, because of the volatility that came in, and I just didn't really buy. So we had a trade around this level. Just try to draw where the trade was. So we had a nice trade here. We made some money. We made a 1 to 4, I think, on this one, because we were selling around this top area, and it had this dip, and I just took my eyes off it, and we didn't manage to rebuy around this zone or around this zone, because sometimes I buy these kind of like dips here for this move. And yesterday it was unexpected. I was actually watching it for maybe a breakout above here, and then it did it in pre-market. So, because if we go to a daily chart, because that's a 24 hourly, it kind of just gapped up. All right, so it wasn't like I missed the opportunity. I just pre-market, I wasn't able to trade it, and then it moved too much, so there's no point of trading it. But with the theme, the nuclear theme, with the uranium, there was two options that I had, which was either I trade DNN. So one of my favorites since 2020 has been DNN to trade. I haven't traded it recently, frequently, but it was a good opportunity here as well. But I think this also spiked up a little bit. I'll show you, so you guys understand my kind of like logic in why I was positioned in certain trades yesterday. Gapped up again, not a great opportunity. I don't trade these kind of plays. I wait. Okay, so then I think to myself, okay, what can I trade today to make some money in this sector? And it was SMR and Oklo. Now, Oklo hasn't done too well, and it's kind of building up momentum, but it's sold off, I think, with the Russell and the kind of the risk on assets yesterday. But SMR did pretty well, and we end up buying actually around this level. It was like 40, 41 something, and we have a decent stop loss on that. Now, with this, as you can see here, there was no gap, right? And it allowed me to get an opportunity to buy, and we still have nice opportunity here for this to move up higher. Also, it's in the same sector, but it's one of the key companies that can provide solutions for data centers. So it's also a growth play, unlike CCJ, which is a different play altogether. So that's another reason why I traded it. So we tried to trade the momentum. It did quite well on the day. We kind of saw it up about 13-14% and then sold off later on in the session. But it's an early-ish play that can do well. We've also traded this move here, this one here, during the year. So it's kind of one of those that I'm watching for a nice continuation. We saw these kind of like bounces around these levels, and I'll draw them out so you get to see it. There's a bounce. So this is kind of this is a support zone, and then we have the other area here. So even if we come back down, we get a support, and then we move up higher. But I don't expect it to sell off. I mean, we could see maybe later on today on the news what happens, but this was one of my plays. Tesla was one I traded yesterday, and it's doing quite well since we entered. We bought around this breakup point of 440, I think 442, 443, as you can see here, with this potentially creating a new high. It's pretty good. Even if I was expecting it to dip, but what's happened is, and I'll take some of these drawings out, is we saw price kind of curl up. So even if it kind of comes back down and stays like that, that'll be quite good for the move. So that's what I'm expecting now. I was expecting maybe more consolidation. So that didn't happen because of the euphoric buying that's been happening in larger caps. And yeah, nice kind of nice bounce here as well on the RSI with this kind of curling movement, and potentially we go here and then maybe sell off around that level. That's what I'm kind of looking at. So that the momentum, the strength, will it come into the stock? And again, I look at the RSI just to kind of see where the sentiment is, but then we trade it with many other indicators and tools that we use to analyze which one's the best opportunity. Again, this is all in my Discord group. What I share here is just a bear chart, and I'm explaining to you the logic behind the buying. We had a good move on WGS. I shared this in the previous video. So a very volatile day for WGS. So we had some nice pre-market move and then back down and then came back up. I just decided to hold through. This zone was a nice zone here to buy, and that's exactly what I did. I bought around this level. We're up and hoping that we can go a little bit higher here. Even if we come back down and move like that, it wouldn't bother me whatsoever. It looks pretty decent. And let's see what the analysts say, 140 something. I mean, it hit that level anyway, so maybe it doesn't do any better. Earnings came out pretty good. I didn't sell. I decided to hold through. I felt like it was okay. And yeah, so like 11% gain in revenue for a company that's in nursing and medical. That's pretty good. And then we had earnings up 15%. So overall, we should be doing well. And on previous good earnings, it kind of does this and then starts building momentum. Here, what happened here? I'm not sure. This could have been something else. But generally speaking, on good earnings, kind of starts to move, consolidates. Depends on how the market, I think, reacts. It's kind of like a 50-50, isn't it, from what I'm looking at? So yeah, we'll just have to see here. I would like it to build up some momentum. Maybe, like I said, move into the 150 again, maybe 160, overextend, and then we'll start selling some of the position there. If it doesn't happen, we kind of keep it for maybe a small win. It's not a bad trade. Alibaba, bit of a sell-off yesterday, but overall looking pretty good. And I won't go into so overall looking pretty good. I think the Chinese market could do quite well. And again, I've kind of drawn here already what I expect for the price action to do. Okay, so something like this, because we're building some momentum here, and then we have NVIDIA, which I already explained. One that I was looking at was it was SMCI, and it's just not ready. It's just not ready. I'll just show you it. So I thought maybe semiconductors could do well, but as you can see here, this is my watch list I want to be buying in the next move. None of them did well yesterday. So that's okay. We let it build up momentum, and we'll buy again. I want to buy, crypto plays here. I want to buy some AI plays. We'll see. But SMCI, maybe today, it's a nice move. I'll explain to you why. We have this trend line here potentially breaking. I mean, I already drawn it, haven't I? Something like this, you see. So either we buy on the breakout now, and it'll be this breakout here, or we buy on a lower price around this level. But for me, it looks quite weak, like it needs a bit of a pullback, and then like a higher low around this level, and then we would break up above. But yeah, there's plenty of ideas that I've shared over the last few videos, so go and watch those. I also shared Lululemon, etc. So there's some ideas there. The other thing I will say is you can go and follow me on X, Instagram, and TikTok. X, I provide some of my thoughts throughout the day on the markets. And finally, what I think you can do if you really are interested in what I'm looking at and what I'm trading, you can go to the Discord group and join that. Join the Novice Hunters group. That's for beginners that just want to see and get a taster of what I'm looking at, how I see the market, what analysis I'm providing to the community there. We do broad market analysis, market conditions. I'm providing macro, my thoughts on the macros. Then we have chat rooms for stocks and crypto where the other members discuss ideas alongside me, and I provide my watch list for complete transparency to see my trades. There is a different level in the group, but at least you get a taster of what I'm looking at and watching throughout the day for trades. And some of them are just simple, I'm watching this and then we're buying. Some of them are, I'm watching this and we're waiting for a setup to finish. That's it. Okay, so now let's go into crypto. Crypto had a bit of a sell-off yesterday. We're going to be covering this really, really quickly here. Crypto had a bit of a sell-off, and it was expected. I have mentioned in my previous videos that the key pivot point with Bitcoin was this 112, 113 level. I'll buy some here. We get a dip after the resistance at the 116, which we've had. So two things have happened. Break above here. I've bought 116 resistance dip. We need to hold here. Come back up today or for the rest of the week and test the 116 level again for breakout. That's all I'm looking for. So if we start seeing weakness here, I'll be looking to get out of my positions for a small loss. I'm not risking a lot here on the initial buy. I will be buying on the dip here. Okay, so I'm just waiting for this to settle, and then we'll be looking for new opportunities to buy. So it's looking, as I mentioned, quite weak. These are kind of like, in my opinion, fake breakouts at the moment. I end up buying early so that we de-risk later by adding here. We then put our stop loss around break even, and we're done. And then we can kind of run with profits only. So that's the kind of logic I was using with Bitcoin as well as Ethereum. So I'll explain Ethereum as well. The move was a breakout above 41K around this level here. That was a midpoint of the channel that is going to appear soon. As you can see here, that break was the key for me. I bought some there. I didn't load the boat. I didn't buy a full position. I usually risk around 3 or 4% on Ethereum because I tend to share to risk around 5% to around 10% on Bitcoin and Ethereum alone of my portfolio, because I know that these will be the ones that are going to move a little bit more secure. And then we add some other positions when we feel the market is very bullish, and we tend to be more aggressive with them in the sense that we buy smaller positions in alts, but we focus primarily on, or I focus primarily on Bitcoin and Ethereum and the swings there. All we need is maybe 3 to 4 big trends around 30 to 50%, and we've doubled our portfolio with just Ethereum and Bitcoin. So this is comes back into the pocket here, and it has indecision. We need now this to break up again over 4.05, 4. I'd say 4.1k, and then test this zone. Everything is as expected. Initial buy here is small position to then add when we break out again, and then maybe add again here around the 4.4, 4.3 level. Okay, so we're kind of moving with the market and taking bigger and bigger risks as the momentum builds. I just wanted to be in an early trade just in case we have some unexpected price action this week where we move higher, because crypto can be very euphoric sometimes when traders like it, especially retail. We had some good trades on Tuesday. Trump was one of those trades. I shared that in the community as on the watch list for the novice hunters, but also as a trade in the other group. Here we have it. We have the breakout around this level here was key. A nice bounce, break, and then we had the momentum, and it's building up nice momentum here. World Liberty as well is doing pretty well. This could be a key moment to buy, and this could bring a bullish momentum and a new trend upwards for this one, World Liberty. Of course, we could have bought everything cheaper, but the risk is buying here. What makes you think that it's not going to go even further down on negative news? So, yeah, the risk that we have though is resistance here, come back down. We have this risk on all of them, and that would be this kind of gap fill level, just because I think the market might get some negative news, maybe unexpectedly, and then we kind of build from here. But that will take us into 2026, maybe building the structures for what everybody is waiting for, an alt season, which we haven't had. But World Liberty looks pretty decent, and maybe a good buy on the breakout above here, in my opinion. So this breakout, this is kind of like the momentum that we would need. Other ones, they did pretty well. I mean, I had the HBAR do well for me yesterday. Where is it? HBAR did really well. We ended up buying this quite early, just to be in some positions, because we know that crypto can move with some euphoric buying. We ended up buying around this level here, a little bit higher, sure, around this level here. And the main reason why I bought it was bounce. Let's not factor the wick, the liquidations. Bounce, break. And I just thought, I'll give it a go, buy a bit earlier. I tend to kind of wait for alts, but we ended up buying this one, and it's done pretty well. And this is it. Okay. As expected, we are in profit here. And trades like this are the ones that are holding up the portfolio, and it's around break even, maybe slight profit. So we're not doing too bad here with these trades. And then we have other trades like AVAX, Link that we've taken. All of these have been shared in the Discord group. So again, go and join if you're curious. But with AVAX, we've kept the stop loss quite far. So we've kept the stop loss quite far away. I wasn't too confident with this one. I thought maybe we'd get a resistance here, and we have at the moment. But But what I will be looking at is this level, bounce here, hopefully, and then build up a momentum. Okay, that would be ideal. It's looking nice because it's inverted head and shoulder so far, but we need it to hold up today. Today's the key day, right? So we'll find out where the market goes today. So whether these fail or not, it is what it is. We've already factored in the risk, and it will be managed. And bear in mind that I'm only risking about 5%, and we won't be selling at these stop losses here. We'll probably be selling earlier if these moves fail, as well as with Ethereum, for example. I probably will be selling much better because the stop loss is around this level, 3.6, 3.7. And if we come back down, it would be selling around here, half that risk. Okay, I've factored all of this in entering these early trades. There is no significant risk to my portfolio. I haven't loaded up the boat around these levels. There's no reason to do that because we can scale in throughout the move. Okay. The idea here is if we've entered here and there is a big move, we go to 5.7K, 6K. Okay. So this would be a significant move. So there is no reason to load the boat here. You just buy a little bit, add, and then we go to 6K. Logic, okay? Make sure you manage risk correctly because that is the key to trading. Right, so that's crypto. We'll cover commodities really quickly and then we'll be done. So the dollar, still waiting for those key levels I mentioned. It was breaking this trend line. It would take the market into a long. There'll be less selling off of crypto. And as you can see here, dollar goes up, crypto goes down. Basic logic. It is Bitcoin versus the dollar or Ethereum versus the dollar. So we have to monitor the dollar. Here you go with a move. So are we going to get resistance here? Or are we going to now build up the momentum to the 100 I mentioned a few times? It's very, very indecisive. It is a 50-50. The only thing we can do as traders is trade a little bit better, enter quite well, like I've tried to do with crypto, and some stocks as well, as I mentioned. Enter well, manage risk. In these situations, it's a 50-50. That's all you can do. If you're managing risk, then you can wait for the better opportunities when the market builds up momentum and you can re-enter. So there is no pressure whatsoever if you manage risk correctly. That's exactly what I've tried to do with crypto. I mentioned it earlier in the video. But the dollar, again, we can kind of look at this. So maybe we can do something like that's been broken, so maybe not. I'll probably say, for me personally, I'll probably look at this as a key moment. See, today, tight. Either we go down or we go up. We have to decide. Super, super simple here. In fact, I'll probably move the alert around 99 on the dot, and then add one here as well. If I get alert for either one of these, then I know where the market sentiment is, and then we'll manage risk accordingly. Natural gas, we've been mentioning natural gas seasonality over and over and over again. We've done reels about it. We've shared those reels. Spike up, as you can see here. Big move with natural gas. Very, very expected here. There is no reason for you guys to not have expected this. Seasonality as well as other factors are driving natural gas higher. Expected, but I haven't traded it because I don't like the way that price action is moving, and I tend to trade stocks related to commodities that I like. US oil consolidating, dipping a little bit. Expected. You're going to see what I provided in the previous videos, but the idea here was that yes, we would get a bounce around these levels. move up higher, and then come back down to build a zone where it consolidates before it moves. Now, of course, we could also see this, right? We just have to wait and see. I don't trade US oil. I just look at it because I want to know where US oil is and potential ideas for rotations. Gold, we hit our target with gold, 3.9. I mentioned that 3.9 was a key level. That would be the bounce zone. We've traded it since 4.3. So as you can see, all the way down, you can see all the drawings anyway. So all the way down here, there's a trend line. Yeah, there you go. All the way down here, I said 3.9, 3.8, 3.88, 3.9 hit. We hit our target. We made our 9% on this one. Now bouncing, very, very logical bounce here around this zone. And gold is a long. That is okay. We wait and we reposition ourselves into another short. This is what I predicted since the 16th. When we were here, I said shorting gold is one of the best opportunities right now to make a high probability play to make around 10%. And then you guys have had the pleasure to see how this is set up throughout the last week or so, 10 days. Okay, so silver as well, similar position, bouncing here. So I don't want to cover that too much. We had US 10-year bonds. I did mention here that I think we could see these move up higher. So we have to monitor them very, very carefully. The setup is this trend line. We can go here. We need that resistance to come back down, but it's setting up quite nicely for 10-year bonds to move up, maybe to around 4.2, 4.3%. So that would see them gain around 5%. Okay, 5-6%. Other commodities that we can cover really quickly: industrial metals. I don't think there's anything there from what I've seen. So maybe it's already moved. So there's nothing really there as an opportunity. We have Asian markets and Japanese. It's been doing so well, and we have the Korean market, which has been doing exceptionally well. One of my regrets is not trading ideas in these two markets. I had Korean stocks on watch for a long, long time. They were consolidating for a long time, and then I never ended up buying Samsung and some other ideas that I had in the Korean market. I actually had it, I think, here on the top ideas for the year. So around January, where was it? There you go. Right, so we had it here, Korea European. We already traded these early on. It was in January. Obviously, we had some pharma turnarounds that I thought could turn around. But these were kind of my core ideas for the year. China's been a big theme. Two major trades I've done this year. The third one is now. But Korea, big regret. Where is Samsung? I'll show you. Just took my eyes off the Korean market because the US market was doing so well. But look at this. The risk rewards on this would have been amazing. So sometimes we have great ideas. I have great ideas and take my eyes off the ball. But 1 to 12. I mean, we had this kind of structure here as well around this level. Yeah. So some really, really nice ideas. Easy plays as well, because they've just been clean and moved with significant momentum. Again, part of my top ideas that I created for the beginning of the year. Yeah, look at that. SK. Amazing plays. But yeah, we missed out. It's okay. Again, these were shared in the Discord group. I didn't trade them. Some of the other guys did. I think I'll wrap it up with that for the video. Big day with the Fed. decision. The market is overextended with S&P and the NASDAQ, so be cautious there, because that overextension with a little bit of negative news today could lead to a sell-off and a pullback or of some sort. Even if we sell off, I think the S&P and the NASDAQ look pretty good for a bounce. The momentum there is quite strong. The larger plays, so we've had like NVIDIA and so on, they've been doing really well. Crypto and the Russell sold off because of the risks associated with holding them during the event. The volatility, I think, has made traders exit those positions, but we have some really, really nice plays that are setting up. And if you manage risk correctly, it's okay if you lose a little bit on those moves, similar to what I've done. But and I've explained to you the logic there with the scaling up on those moves, and even the stop losses are quite far away, so it's not too big of an issue. With gold bouncing here, but hit our target again. We are now looking for some resistance above and to see whether it's going to build more momentum for the buy up. That's it from me today. If you guys want to, if you want more of what I have to say about the markets, there's a couple of things that you can do. You can go and follow me on Twitter. Okay, so on Twitter, I share some of my thoughts throughout the day. If you want more in-depth analysis, you can go to Discord and join the Novice Hunters community. That's a entry-level community. You can join that. You can see what the community is about. We share market analysis, macro analysis. I share some of my top ideas of the day there with the community members, as well as my watch list for the day. I don't share all of my trades because that's reserved for other paid members, exclusive members, but at least you get to see more of what I'm looking at and trading. All those links are below in the description of the video. Take care. Bye-bye.